I know I've done a lot of things growing up and in my professional career, whether it's business, politics, or engineering. The thing that I would describe myself as, and if I had to describe myself in just one word, it would be athlete. In business, you have to plan, you have to anticipate, you have to take some risks, but you also have to have a grand plan as well. If you go in there blind, just saying, hey, this one move, this one business deal is the be-all, end-all, you're going to get hit back. Yeah, one of the things in my life that you see over and over again, it's just really a common thread, is this jumping 100% into whatever I do. Something that might start out as a little interest becomes a full-blown passion, and then I move on to the next thing. Because I don't want to do something if I'm not good at it. And so rather than quit, I dive in and get good at it. And then once I feel like, okay, I've got a pretty good level there, then I'll move on to the next challenge. You know, I'm a pilot as well, but when I was growing up, I had a fear of flying. And yet I decided to become a pilot. And part of that was because of that. And now I can sit in an airplane and just chill out and enjoy the ride. But I didn't study flying because of just a love of flying. It was I wanted to conquer that fear. And that kind of went with me with racing too. It's like, but wait, this is exciting, but I'm pretty nervous. But that helps, I think, drive your training and your skills to where it's more exciting than fearful. Well, my journey into racing wasn't like most of my competition. Most of them have been racing karts since they were 5 years old. I got this gift certificate for a 3-day school. I was scared to death getting in the car, but you know, it's a race car, so I thought it'd be cool. And once I did that, I was hooked. And I'll never forget that first moment. My first race, I was scared to death. Anytime a level is new, I feel the same way. It's like, what am I doing here? Can I compete? Are these guys going to look at me like you don't belong? And it was in Ohio. We were racing at the Mid-Ohio course with IndyCar. And my very first race, I'm not sure where I finished in the field, but I won the 30 and over division, my very first race. The way I came off of that weekend, it's really interesting because I wanted to succeed. I didn't know if I could, but then I did. So then it starts to build confidence, but it also tends to build a little bit of, I wouldn't say arrogance, but just you kind of become blind to what your actual ability is. My plan during that first year was just 2 pro races. I was going to go to Ohio, and then I was going to do the race in Houston because it's my home race, and I could have friends and family and show them, hey, here's what I did. The results in Mid-Ohio were so good that the team said, hey, why don't you do another pro race before Houston? You know, come with us. We're going up to Three Rivers in Canada. It's a street race, and the car's already here. Why don't you do that? And so I went into it with that same attitude that I had in Ohio, and I came back with even better results. In retrospect, it probably would have been good had that race not gone so well, especially being a street race, because I did not have respect for what walls could do. But it ended up, 10 times better than Mid-Ohio. I felt like I'm fast now, let's just go for it. And some of that little cautiousness kind of went by the wayside. The racing on the edge is a very interesting concept because you need to push it, you need to be within your abilities, but I think for me, I definitely helped me gain success faster because you need to, in order to find out what the limit is of tires or your abilities or whatever, you have to sometimes exceed it. So I didn't know what too far was because I just kept getting better, my laps kept getting faster, and nothing bad was happening. Well, race 2, as I mentioned, the results were fantastic. But what that led to was just even more fantastic practices. I went out to Sonoma, where my team is based. Very difficult track, especially the last half of it, and I just nailed it. This is just a few weeks before the next race, which was Houston, and I was really looking forward to Houston because it's the first time the Grand Prix had come back in many years, and it's my hometown. So now I can have friends and family there who, I've sent them pictures and posted things on Facebook, but now they actually get to watch this world. And this isn't, some track that no one's at. It's an IndyCar event. I think I had 50 or 60 passes that I had to request, and normally as a driver you're issued 4. And it got off to a tremendous start. My first session was pretty good, and then we had another practice, and I was in top 10 on the timesheet. So after each session as a race car driver, it doesn't end there. You get with your coach and you talk about the session. You have a debrief, as they call it. You look at your car is loaded up with sensors. And so you can look at all the data, it shows you where you hit the brakes, where you hit the throttle, where you full throttle, how much brake you had, and we also look at the video. We have in-car video that really helps us to see what our line was, how our hands are doing. And so we had a debrief like that, just like always. And in that was where I noticed that something was a little strange in my driving through this one particular corner, through turn 10. And I mentioned it to him, but I didn't really make a big deal about it, and I didn't really think it was a big deal. But in retrospect, it was kind of a warning sign because it was the fastest corner on the track, and I didn't have a really good sound way of handling it. Well, so now we have qualifying. After just a couple laps, as we exited turn 10, there's a huge bump, and my car hit hard. And it was hard enough to the point where I thought, well, maybe I should go into the pits and have them check it. It really rattled me. But I stayed out, and I came around, hit the other corners pretty well, and then as I'm coming through turn 10, it was just, the car just got away from me. I didn't realize how bad it was until a little bit later, but that crash changed everything. What the success did, it didn't make me, because again, I'm an engineer, I'm a data person, so if I get feedback, I want to analyze it and I want to come to a solution. It was more that just the lack of experience. I didn't know what that feedback was telling me. I didn't know that corner, being fourth gear, nearly flat, was very dangerous. The thing about it is, this time after the accident, when I was rehabbing, I thought a lot, and what I realized is that this time, whether it's business or politics or athletics, everyone's going to have times when they're down. And it's not always injury, but they're not as successful as they want to be. They're not as healthy as they want to be, and they face obstacles. And how you get through that, I guarantee, helps you along the way. It helps you be better than if you wouldn't have had that accident or that business dilemma or, the political confrontation that you have. You can regroup from that if you do it the right way. If your focus goes back to what's important and the right way of doing things. I've learned so much more from defeats and setbacks than I have from any victory ever. And that's because those are what helps you learn. Victories just reaffirm how good you are. It's the defeats that you really learn your lessons, whether it's life lessons, whether it's I need to work on a new stroke in tennis or get something better, or I need to take a certain corner better because my opponent was eating me up on turn 8 at track X. That's where you actually learn. And the people that become successful, I guarantee that their stories of defeat are the ones that motivate.